So you might find this interesting. Yeah, I did a little bit listening. And, that's how I get most of my information is through, I'm not a good reader. I don't know how to read, so it's all listening and watching. I like to watch TV and listen to TV, but just listening to someone's conversation. Lo and behold, one of the man's friends finally called him back. It might have been a pity call, I don't know. But he was talking to this guy, and somehow it got onto something to do with who was liberal, who was conservative, and who would do lawsuits and who wasn't so litigious. And the man agreed that everybody seems to be litigious. But he hearkened back. He said, I'm liberal in a lot of things, but, I'm old school. I'm old school conservative when it comes to, I'm not going to sue somebody. You have to be responsible. The man says, you got to be responsible for your own walking around sense. As you walk around, you're responsible for you. If you don't want, just because you step on somebody else's property, they have become responsible for you. If you got some idiot, you fall on the sidewalk, somebody didn't shovel the ice and the snow off their sidewalk, you slip and you fall. Oh well, it's their property. Maybe they don't want to shovel the snow. You have to accept responsibility. If it's too dangerous to walk on the sidewalk because it's icy and snowy, you got to turn around and go the other way. That's a choice you have to make. You're responsible for your own walking around sense, your own body. You're responsible for you. And if you make a mistake and it leads to you smacking down onto a sidewalk and hurting your back or busting your shoulder, the guy who owns the sidewalk shouldn't have to pay for it. You chose to walk on the sidewalk. There should be no inferred liability to the owner of any property just because somebody chooses to go out on the property. That's what the man said. And as a dog, it kind of makes sense. I run all over everybody's property. I never thought, if something happens to me on somebody's property, I'm going to hold them responsible. If I step into a chuck hole while I'm running through somebody else's lawn after a squirrel, or, if I run under a wire and get my head snapped back, I'm not blaming the guy who owns the wire or the yard. I ran on his yard, so I can see what the man was saying. The man said, just because if the sidewalk's icy, don't choose to walk on the sidewalk. If you do, then you accept responsibility for what happens. The other guy, he doesn't have to shovel off his sidewalk. He might be lazy. Maybe it's an old lady or something, but maybe it's just some fat slob who's lazy. He says, I ain't going to shovel off my sidewalk. I'm too damn lazy. Hey, what are you going to do? Take his wealth because he's too lazy to go shovel his sidewalk? You got to walk around the sidewalk. Hopefully they're plowing the road. You walk in the road, then you go back on the sidewalk with all the people that shovel their sidewalk. I shovel my sidewalk. I don't really shovel it. I pay to have my, and that's what the man said. He said, I don't shovel my sidewalk, but I do pay somebody to shovel my sidewalk. But he said, hey, listen, it might be that, you shouldn't be on that guy's sidewalk. He's lazy. You got to watch out. That's a lazy fat slob. He's not coming out and shoveling his sidewalk off. Everybody would know it. You could put a sign up on either side of his property line, now entering the corridors of a lazy fat slob who won't shovel off the sidewalk. But hey, enter at your own risk. It's not his responsibility. He's successful, obviously. If he lives in a nice place, in a nice town, in a nice section of town, obviously he's successful. Almost all of the really lazy people I know are rich. That's what the man said. And I'd kind of heard enough. I said, all the lazy people, the really lazy people are rich. Almost all of them is what he said. And I had enough. But I had to come into the laundry room. Obviously, still the man's doing more laundry. Maybe now that one person has called him, maybe that he's gotten a single view, so to speak. Maybe he'll cut down on the laundry and I could come in and make a dog entry to my novelette or my, whatever it is, this recording that I send out there for my adherents, the people that listen. Maybe we could do it without the laundry machines. If the man feels good enough about himself, he feels confident, and internally he feels strong enough, maybe he'll slack back on the laundry and we can make a couple entries in the quiet.